Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video on my thoughts on the current meta after Katarina got nerfed and how I think you should be playing the current patch. In this video, I'll mainly go through the legendary board because I think currently it's the most interesting way to play and also the strongest. But I'll also briefly touch up on the AD comps and the reroll comps if you're interested. So right now in the current meta, a lot of people are playing the reroll Protector comp or the reroll Cho'Gath comp, and everyone is taking Ascension and Underdogs, which leads to very, very prolonged fights. I think a very good way to play against those comps is by playing around the 5-cost legendaries like Akali, Viktor, and Kaisa, depending on whoever you hit. And the reason why this works is because Archangels exist in the game. What Archangels does is the longer the fight goes on, the more AP your unit gets, and eventually, if the fight goes on long enough, every single one of these legendaries will eventually one-shot their entire team. The only conditions you need to play this comp is having a very established frontline at level 8, having 40 gold plus to roll at level 8, and having Archangels. And you might be wondering which 5-cost carry you should play, and actually it really is whoever you hit. So like if you hit 1-star Akali or 1-star Viktor or 1-star Kaisa, any one of these units can stabilize you at level 8 as long as you have these two items and a very established frontline. And then afterwards you could just go 9 to try and hit your 2-star legendary board. So at level 8 your board might look something like this. You probably had like some Yordle opener to get you to level 8 with 50 gold, and you have Archangels and you have a very established frontline, and then here you're going to roll down to try and stabilize you. Let's say you hit a Viktor 1. As long as you have a 2-star frontline, so let's say like you drop Poppy for like Leona 2, and then you have like 2-star Janna, 2-star Taric, 2-star Seraphine, you could just go 9 assuming you have Archangels, and the Socialite Hex is in a good spot. So the Socialite Hex is important because Viktor cannot be played if the Socialite Hex is in a frontal hex. So for example, in this picture, all the Blitzcrank hexes are vulnerable to Blitz hooks. All the Viktor hexes are good hexes for both Viktor and Kaisa, and Akali is basically fine on every single hex. So if one of the hexes is in one of these frontal spots, you probably shouldn't play Viktor. And if the hex is in one of these Blitzcrank spots, you probably need GA or you're just going to get hooked and get one shot. But anyway, going back to the picture, once you go 9, you want to try and play Galio. So you drop Leona for Galio, and then you could probably drop Lulu for Yuumi, and then this is going to be your level 9 board. You actually want to play Ziggs late game because he's a really good synergy bot. He gives your whole team scrap shield, and he gives your entire team 20 extra AP. And as long as Viktor lives late game, if Archangels is the only damage item you have, you're going to eventually one-shot their entire team. And Viktor will never die because he has 3 Socialite. Let's say instead of you hit a Viktor, you hit a Kaisa instead. So if you hit Kaisa, because Kaisa is a challenger, you actually want to play Camille for 2 challenger. And if you're playing Camille, you probably want to play Orianna to give extra attack speed to Kaisa. So here you could probably drop Lulu, you drop Poppy, and play a second bodyguard instead. And then you probably don't need Ziggs anymore because you don't have another Arcanist. So this is probably like your level 8 board, and you're going to have Archangels and GA. And again, as long as you 2-star your entire front line, the longer the fight goes on, eventually Kaisa will one-shot their entire team. And then at level 9, eventually you want to drop Leona for Galio for 3 Socialite. And then if you really want to uncap your board, you could probably drop Orianna and Camille and play Jace and Fiora. So finally, let's say you don't hit Kaisa or Viktor, but you hit an Akali. You just move the items to Akali, and now you want to build around your Akali instead. So since you already have Braum, you want a 3rd Syndicate, so Shaco is very, very good. And then again, you probably drop Poppy for Leona. And then this is probably stable for you to go 9, as long as your front line is 2-starred. And then at 9, same as last time, drop Leona for Galio. And then you could drop Lulu for a better unit like Yuumi. And then this is your level 9 board. All 3 of these boards are dependent on having Archangels because it infinitely scales your unit. And it assumes that you have a very established front line that won't die. As long as your front line survives, your 5-cost will eventually one-shot their entire team. So for itemization, it's Archangels GA +1. This +1 could be Giant Slayer, Shojin, Jewel Gauntlet. For Kaisa, it could be Guinsoo's, Gunblade, Titans. And for Akali, it could be IE or Spark. So now I'll run through the AD comps. The way to play these comps is very similar to all the previous patches. I would look to play towards these AD comps if you have a lot of bows, swords, and gloves. So for Challenger, to win your lobbies, you usually need Challenger Spat, and you need to hit 2-star Yone and 2-star Braum and a Kaisa. Otherwise, you're most likely just playing for 4th. So it's a very 1st or 8th comp, but if you hit everything, you could probably win. So I would probably only look towards playing this comp if you have a Challenger Spat. Basically, this is your board. Best in slot Yone is Runan's Last Whisper and QSS. So the next comp is going to be JINCHANTERS. It's kind of weird because you usually can't win with Jin unless you hit everything as well. So you really need to high roll with this comp. Like literally you need Braum 2, Leona 2, Orianna 2, Janna 2, Taric 2. You need to hit Yuumi, you need Jin 2, and you need to make sure the Socialite is in a good hex. And then if all those conditions apply, then you could probably go first. Otherwise, you're just probably playing for fourth. But this is your board. At level 9, you could probably just drop Leona for Galio. So the next comp is going to be the URGOT comp. Usually you play into this comp if you have a mercenary opener because it's a very easy transition into URGOT. Or if you just hit like a random 2-star URGOT on your level 8 roll down, you just play around URGOT. This is sort of like your starting level 8 board, but eventually you want to slowly move out of this weak board into a legendary fully capped board. Trundle out for Tahm Kench, and then Gangplank out for JINX. So probably eventually you're going to play Jace. And you could probably cut Lissandra for Yuumi if it's an AD heavy lobby because you don't need the AD shred anymore. If you're able to 2-star your Tahm Kench, URGOT, JINX 2, Yuumi 2, Janna 2, Mundo 2, you could probably win your lobbies, but again, it feels like you need to high roll with the AD comps to have a chance against the AP comps. And the last AD board is going to be CLAPIO. So at level 8, if you randomly hit a Galio 2, you can look towards playing into CLAPIO to go fast 9. I think these 3 items are best in slot on Galio, but I could be wrong. You basically just play Galio and 3 Socialite and a second Colossus like Scion and put Galio on the Socialite hex, and he basically 1v9s. So now I'll just briefly run through these reroll comps. One very strong comp right now is reroll Protectors. You should only play this comp if you have the opener for it. So let's say, for example, at 2-1 you have like 5 Cassidans and you're uncontested, you probably go for this. Or you have like an augment favored by this comp, like for example, if you get Underdogs, or if you get Ascension, or if you get Trade Sector, or Featherweights, you probably play towards this comp. And the game plan for this comp is to econ really hard until you're level 550 gold. And you want to slow roll above 50 until you hit your 3-star units. So the unit priority is going to be Cassidy over Graves over Garen over Caitlyn. Once you hit your 3-star Cassidy, if you're not close to any of these other units, you could go 6 and roll for Kog'Maw. But let's say like you hit Cassidy, Graves, Garen, and Caitlyn all 3-star, but you only have like 3 Kog'Maws. Honestly, Kog'Maw 3 isn't even that important because I think the main carry of this comp is Cassidy, not Kog'Maw. So you want to focus all your resources into Cassidy because he's going to be carrying your fights. Kog'Maw 2, Kog'Maw 3 isn't a huge difference. It's your front line that matters. And you want to prioritize items for Cassidy and put all leftover items on Kog'Maw. So I think the 3 best items you could put on Cassidy is probably Bramble, Warmogs, and Redemption. And then you just put all your leftover items on Kog'Maw. But if you had to pick, I think Guinsoo's is quite good and Giant Slayer. If the Mutant is good, you could probably play a 3rd Mutant at level 6. And then eventually, once you hit all your 3-star units, you want to try and play around Kaisa late game because that's your win con. So the last comp is just going to be the 5 Mutant comp. You only play this comp if the mutant trait is Voracious Appetite or Metamorphosis. If you have Voracious Appetite, you want to make sure you have best in slot Malzahar. So, for example, the best items of Malzahar I think are GA, Gunblade, and Jewel Gauntlet. And then you want to get as many ZZ Rods as possible. The game plan for this is you just play your strongest board until level 7, and then at level 7 to stabilize, you roll down for 2-star Cho'Gath and 2-star Malzahar. From that spot, you could just go 8 and look to play around Kaisa because you actually don't need 3-star Cho'Gath or Malzahar to win. You just need Kaisa. But if you're close to Cho'Gath or Malzahar, you could go for it. But the safer play is to just go 8. If you get Metamorphosis, you could look to itemize your Cho'Gath instead. For Metamorphosis, 3-star Cho'Gath I think is more important. So you want to itemize Cho'Gath with probably Redemption, Bramble, +1. If you get Protector Spat, it's really, really good on Cho'Gath. So you just Protector Spat Cho'Gath and he'll never die. After that, you just go 8 and try and play around Kaisa because that's your win con. So that's my guide for patch 11.24. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and comment down below. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this for the future patches. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.